There's no unfinished business. This will bring us to new business. The first item on new business is a resolution calling for the property tax levy on the November ballot. And I'll turn this over to our city attorney for background information and any context you'd like to add.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, members of the council. Before you is the resolution calling for a property tax levy bid lift. The resolution was prepared by myself and the city's bond counsel, Deanna Gregory, who's in the front row this evening. Deanna's with the Pacifica Law Group, and as city's bond counsel, she was instrumental in preparing all of the documents that went into the lease purchase agreement and related agreements that resulted in the construction of the public safety buildings at City Hall, and then the subsequent issuance of the certificates of participation that finance all of it. And just so people have an appreciation of what went into that, these are the documents collectively that allow us to be in the building that we are today. The resolution before you is the mechanism created by state law for a local legislative body such as yourself to call for an election on a local ballot proposition. Statute calls for you to adopt a resolution that directs the county auditor to place it on the ballot. That's primarily what this document does. It also contains several pages of recitals that outline how we got here today, the arrangements that led to the creation of this building, and the debt obligations that the city faces and the need for additional financing. And then last but not least, there's a ballot title. Another provision of the statute requires the city attorney to draft a ballot title that will be the language that appears on the ballot that folks vote on. There are limitations in terms of what it can contain, including the number of words, so if it seems overly brief to folks, the description of the measure is limited to 75 words, and so that's why it appears the way it does. And in substance, it contains the levy, property tax levy rate increase that you all have discussed previously, the 97.5 cents per thousand assessed valuation, not to exceed $2.14 per $1,000 of assessed valuation. And it also describes the purposes to which the proceeds from the levy can be put, specifically paying the lease obligations on the public safety buildings and this building in the form of debt service, and also paying for the cost of public safety services, including but not limited to firefighter personnel and equipment. So in substance, that's what's before you. I'm happy to take questions. I know Deanna is ready for any questions as well.
Any questions from council about the staff report? Someone will speak up. Okay. Well, as we know, this is the motion or the resolution and everything is before us. This is something that you guys have worked on for a long time. What you have before you is the response to the direction that you gave last week, and that was to basically come back with a resolution that factors in the rate, the title, and the time frame, which is a temporary lid lift to support the resources that we need for public safety infrastructure and the public safety personnel that we will likely lose in March when the SAFER grant expires. So we will lose in March when the SAFER grant expires. So that being the case, when I became mayor, I made this my #1 priority to take on to make sure that we stabilize revenue. And just again, to revisit council where we've been, I created a community finance committee to walk us through the budget from their perspective, from the citizens' perspective. They looked under every rock, they looked at all available options. They gave 11 weeks of hard work, analyzing options, looking at possibilities, and considering, do we cut or do we increase revenue, which was really their two options. And if so, how do we go about doing that? And I did not discount the time and the energy and effort that they put forward. And you had my recommendations, which was for a temporary lid lift to go forward and sustain both public safety and the infrastructure that they rely on. Even though that wasn't where I started off. I started off with a focus on making the Civic Center payment. And the finance committee came back and said, no, we need to look at public safety. And they said, not only do we need to look at the firefighters that we'll lose, but we need to look at other needs in the community as well, the police officers and public works. And I held off in my recommendation of going all in and asking for increases. I thought it was more prudent to do something temporary, to maintain, to try to build trust and to build confidence with the community, improve our financial reporting systems, let the community look at the way that we do budgeting, which this group had an intense opportunity to do so, and to try to stabilize the revenue that we need to make sure that our community is whole and remains a good place to live, work, and play. So with that, I made my recommendations, and passing a property tax, in my opinion, is simple, it's equitable, and it's stable. And yes, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. There's other things that we can look at, like the B&O tax reform, but that's not simple, and that will take time, and we need to make sure that we do it in a manner that is wise and appropriate, that strengthens business and supports economic development, and doesn't do anything to the contrary. So we will look at that. We will look at it as this fall, as I talked about earlier, and I've asked for, and you've all made a commitment to doing that reform. So tonight, you're here to consider the resolution that you proposed, that you asked for, which is now before you, and the rest of the time is yours. A motion would be in order to adopt this resolution and have any discussion that you think is necessary. Is there a motion on? Motion's been made by Councilmember Court, seconded by Councilmember Wilcox. Any discussion? Councilmember Wilcox? Councilmember Westman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm very supportive of the citizens' rights to pass judgment on this resolution in the November election. As an elected representative of the people, I do not support the property tax rate contained therein. So I will be voting no.
All right. Any questions for staff or any further discussion? If not, then we'll call for a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries 6-1. The next thing